We're going to start with the lesson today. As probably you already know, I am FIDE Master Michel Coto, and I will be almost for sure working with you in these lessons. So for today, for the first lesson, we're going to work with tactical devices. So we're going to understand a little better what tactics means and how it works. So I think we are all here in the lesson, so we are already starting. And the first thing I'm going to mention is tactical themes. I guess you all know or probably have heard in some point what tactical themes are. I'm going to say some examples. We can talk about decoy, that's a tactical theme. We can talk about attraction, about deflection. We can talk here about removing the defender. Those are tactical themes. Those are the devices we use to win by a tactic sequence. That's the idea. So that's something we are going to understand better when we see the examples. Of course, we're going to talk about that, but we need to mention that at the beginning. Another thing we need to know is what a combination is. I'm sure you have heard, or almost sure you have heard before, talking about a combination. I won with a great combination, for example. But what is a combination? What exactly is that? What does that mean? Well, a combination is when you sacrifice a piece and then you get advantage or you mate. So that's a combination. That's when you win a game by a combination or with a combination. So it means you sacrifice something, and then in a forced sequence, 2 moves later, maybe 3 moves or more moves later, you won because of that sacrifice. So that's a combination. You sacrifice and you win because of that sacrifice. So those are 2 important ideas, tactical theme and combination. Again, I'm going to say the same. When we see the examples, you're going to understand better. If you don't get it very well here, I'm talking. So when we analyze the examples, we are going to understand that much better. And the other idea I want to say here are the motives. Those are 3 important concepts: combination, tactical theme, and motives. The motives are the problems our opponent has. For example, if our opponent has weakness in the back rank and we can have some mate in the back rank, then the motive is that the problem he has is weakness in the back rank. So that's the problem, the motive for our tactical thing that we could have then. So another typical motive, for example, is an unprotected piece. For example, let's say our opponent has a bishop on c5 hanging. That's a problem, right? So that's a motive. So remember, motives are problems. The problems our opponent might have. And if we learn to analyze those problems, we can find more easily the solution in tactic positions. So in all the lessons, we are going to analyze a game. So we are going to see a game here. In this game, there is a small combination. So high society. And in all the lessons, we are going to see a master's game. So we're going to see now a master's game. We have more activities like playing games. That's something I want to do in some point of the lesson. I want you to play games on chess.com, and then I will be watching as you play and giving you tips. So that's something I really want to do with you today. And also something I really like and I think is very helpful is to solve puzzles. So that's something we are going to do together here. We're going to be solving puzzles and analyzing. And when we solve those puzzles, we're going to try to understand better all these ideas of tactical theme, combination, motives. We're going to understand all those things better when we see that. Okay, so well, let's start with the game. We are going to analyze a game. Before we continue, do you have some question about all these things? I'm sure you're going to get it better when we see the examples, but maybe before I start analyzing a master's game, you want to say or ask something. We will be using the chat here. That's what I prefer to use. So if you want to ask something over there, you can text it. I will be here answering and replying everything I can. Okay, so we are going to start with the game. Also remember, I sent friend requests to all the students of the group. I need you to accept those friend requests because now we are going to be friends in chess.com, so I can see your games, so I can check your homeworks. Yeah, I'm not using the audio. Please, Saiti, if you can text the question, it would be better. I'm not using the audio. I think it's not really, I don't like it so much. I prefer to see the questions in. Okay, well, if you don't see the request, just text me your chess.com user, Martin, and I will send it. I will send it right now. Yeah. Yeah, well, Martin, I remember I sent a friend request, so to DCRTOFF. Yeah, I remember I sent a friend request. So probably you need to look better because I'm pretty sure I sent the friend request to your user. Well, Ananda, you're asking about defenses. Adrian, we're already friends, yes, from some days ago, yes. So Ananda is asking about ways, defenses to the combinations. Yeah, well, actually, how to defend properly is another idea we should analyze probably in some other moment. But every time we are analyzing a position, we are also looking at what our opponent can play. So we are analyzing at every point a defensive move. We are always trying to look for defensive moves. So even if we don't talk too much about that, we are going to be looking for defensive moves at every moment. Okay, I will send. Okay, I will send the friend's request. Well, better you send me because I don't have to send one to all of them. My user is Mike Chess. Try to send me then a friend request so I don't have to go one after the other. You send me a friend request and I will accept it here. Okay, so we're going to start with the game as you send me the friend request. The game is played by Murphy. Murphy is a great player. He's a tactic player. He's very strong. So we're going to see a very nice game. Okay, we have E4. Just in the opening, I'm going more or less quickly, but if you have some questions, you can ask me about that. Okay. So E4, E5. White plays knight F3, black plays knight C6. And then we have bishop B5. This is Ruy Lopez or Spanish game. After bishop B5, the main move is going to be A6. In this game, black plays Anderson, plays knight F6. This is also a good move. White plays here D4. Black takes. Murphy takes on D4. E takes D4. and then e5. If you didn't log in, you can do it. You don't need to do it right now. We are just watching this game. I'm moving the pieces on my board, so you can. I'm sharing my screen, so you don't need right now chess.com. But in some point of the lesson, and also for the homeworks, I will be using chess.com. So you can do it later, or now, as you prefer. So e5, and black plays here c6. White is attacking black knight, and black, instead of just moving the knight like this, black attacks white bishop. White castles, and black takes the bishop. And here we are going to start trying to guess the moves for white. What is what white played? That's it. The next move is going to be, well, the most logical move is just taking the knight. But actually there is a move, a different move, very interesting. I think Marin said that move. Is going to be bishop g5. This is probably better, because now we are creating trouble here because black has to take with the pawn, and it's complicated. It's destroying the pawn structure here. Remember, black king is still in the center in this position. So this move is really annoying here. Very well, Marin. And after bishop g5, black can still play something like bishop e7. The idea is that now he doesn't have to take with the pawn. Now he can take with the bishop. The next move, of course, is going to be pawn takes knight, and then bishop takes pawn. What is the next move here? Yeah, you can trade directly. I don't think that's wrong. In the game, he checks first. No one said this check, but I don't think it changes too much. You can also trade first and then you check. It's probably going to transpose to the same position. Yeah, the check is with the rook. That's better. Yeah. Yeah, probably the queen is going to join or somewhere else. Also remember the queen is attacking d4. So the queen is not so bad here, but the rook can improve a lot coming here. So we are not moving the queen, we are moving the rook, and the queen will join later or somewhere else. Or remember, just threatening the pawn on d4 is a good job. By now. So rook e1 is the move, and then plays king f8. This is a problem. Now black lost the possibility to castle. Now bishop takes, I already said that, and then queen takes bishop. What's the next move for white? Yeah, very well, Ananda. You said the same move that Murphy played in this position. Also, I need to say that knight d2 is fine. This is not a bad idea. Just developing the knight, and the knight may come later over b3, e4, or f3. So this move is not run, this knight d2, but the move he played in the game, Murphy, is c3. So very well. The idea with this c3 is that we're taking the pawn. If black doesn't want to lose the pawn, they will have to trade, but then the knight may come already developed. The queen will be much more active. The knight will be ready to come to d5, creating many threats. So that's the idea with this c3. It's very interesting. As I said at the beginning, Murphy is an attack player. He loves this kind of positions where he has probably 1-2 pawns down, but he has compensation for that material. So that's what he likes, actually. So that's what explains this move c3. But again, those who said knight d2 is also very logical. Remember, we have development problems here. Well, I don't like to say problems, but we still haven't developed the bishop. Sorry, the knight. So that's a problem we need to solve here very quickly, as soon as possible. So knight d2 is fine. The other move, queen e2. Okay, some of you thought about this queen e2. You're threatening mate here, so it doesn't seem to be bad. Probably black can play g6 against queen e2. So it's not very difficult to defend against this idea. But yeah, it's also interesting. Yeah, very good moves. The three moves you said are very good. Yeah, so queen e2, black has to play g6, I guess. And then it's another game, but it's also a nice idea. Okay, so we have c3 here. And then black plays d5. I'm reading your ideas. Okay. Well, I see no one said c takes d4. This is the move Murphy plays here, just c takes d4. I'm going to make a pause here because there's something we need to be clear. If we have material advantage, we want to trade pieces. If we have material disadvantage, we don't want to trade pieces. In this position, look at this. White has, after we take this pawn, white is going to have one, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pawns. And black is going to have 7 pawns. Of course, it's a double pawn here. That's true. But it's an extra pawn. So it's double, but it's 1 pawn more than us. So when that happens, we don't want to trade pieces. So actually, I don't like too much this queen takes d4 because I think he can just trade and play the endgame with a pawn up. So it is much better, I think, to play the middle game. We can still take advantage of the situation of the king. Remember, this king cannot castle. If we go to the endgame, the king without castling is not going to be a big problem. But if we are in the middle game, if we still have queens on the board, then the king without the possibility to castle can be a big problem. That's why this queen takes d4. So I saw some of you said this idea, but actually it's better, or it should be slightly better to take with c. Is this idea clear? Please confirm with y or a letter y letter, or just clear, or let me know if you understand this idea of trading or not trading, because I saw many of you wanted to trade queens here. Okay, thanks Ananda, thanks Shanshan, thanks Martin, very good, excellent. So yeah, in the game, as I said, he's going to capture with c takes d4. That's probably a little better. Thanks. And then black plays here bishop e6. I'm going to say something here. You don't need to know this by now. Probably you don't understand too much by now about this, but probably in some point this is going to help. This bishop is not very good because this is a blocked pawn in the middle, and it's in the same color square than the bishop. So this is going to make the bishop a little bad. The bishop cannot move too much because of this pawn. This is a big problem. So that's something to keep in mind. The bishops are bad when there are blocked pawns in the same color than the bishop, than the squares the bishop moves over. So yeah, some of you are already saying the next move, but maybe someone else want to say what you think about the next move in this position. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's the move. That's the most logical move, and you understood that very, very well this time. Of course, we need to develop the knight, and the best move for that knight is c3. We cannot play knight d2 because this pawn is hanging on d4. So this move is pretty clear, knight c3. Okay, let's continue. In this moment, black plays a6. Yeah, because Murphy was taking the pawn on b5, and it seems like he didn't, Anderson didn't want to lose that pawn. So he plays a6 here to protect the pawn. Yeah, okay. So I see you have some analysis there. Okay. Okay, well, uh, yeah, I'm reading your analysis here. So I don't know if you said this in the analysis, I couldn't get it very well, but I'm going to ask you something about some lines you were mentioning here. Queen b3 is a move some of you were analyzing. After queen b3, this pawn on d4 is hanging, as Ananda found out. So black can just take on d4. If white plays queen a3 in that moment, what can black play then in that position? It's not going to be king g8. I'm not talking about king g8. There is a strong move. Yeah, this b4 is probably very strong. That's it. b4, and then we have a double threat. Well, Martin, remember we're analyzing queen takes d4 in the first move. I mean, queen b3, queen takes d4. So the queen is on d4. So I cannot play queen e7 in that line. Yeah. So I'm going to repeat so everyone can get the line. So if white plays queen b3 here, the idea is to attack the pawn on d5. Black can just capture the pawn on d4. Some of you were analyzing the possibility to play queen a3 in that moment. But then b4 can be very strong because there is a fork here. And at the beginning of the lesson, we were talking about tactical themes. The tactical theme we have when we play b4 here is a fork or a double threat. When you have a double threat with a pawn, we call that a fork. Yeah. And also at the beginning of the lesson, some of you were asking about defensive move. Okay, I'm going to ask you to try to find the defensive move white has after b4. White has a way to avoid to lose this knight, to avoid to lose the piece. What is the move? I mean, I know we're calculating like 3 moves. So don't worry if you cannot see it, but just make a try. I'm saying that after queen b3, queen takes d4, queen a3, black can play fork, and it seems like black has a fork here. But then I said there is a defensive move for white, so white is not really going to lose material. Shen Shen found a very interesting move, knight e2. If black takes the queen, white takes the black queen. So very well, Shen Shen. It's a very good idea. It's not the idea I had seen here, but it's as good or probably better than the other move I had seen in this position after b4. Queen takes b4. Adele, remember the queen is on d4, right? The queen can't capture. So queen takes b4 is not going to work. Shen Shen found a way to escape from the fork and don't lose material. Let's see who can find the other way. Okay, I'm going to say the other way to escape from the fork. Okay, rook d1. Rook d1 is interesting. The problem is that black can just move the queen and keep this threat. So that's the problem. The other move I think that works in that position is this queen a4. The idea is that white is pinning the pawn. So if the pawn takes the knight, then the queen can take the queen on d4. So we are going to see that on the board now, so you can understand, because I know we are calculating like 3 moves, probably, or maybe 4 moves. Probably you're not used to do that. So we're going to see it on the board. The move Murphy played here is this rook e5, attacking d5. But let's see the line you were analyzing here. Queen b3, queen takes b4, queen here, check. And if black plays b4, it seems like getting advantage. Well, it's not going to be so easy, because white can play knight e2, as Shen Shen said, counter-attacking the queen, or the move I found is queen a4. It's also interesting, because we're pinning, and this is another tactical thing. I think I didn't mention pin at the beginning as a tactical thing. Well, pin is another tactical thing we are going to work with. So queen a4 is pinning, and then if the pawn takes, then the queen is hanging on d4, right? So that's the situation. Is all this sequence clear for you? Please confirm. Perfect. Excellent. Okay. So let's go to the perfect. Very good. So let's go to the main line, or to the game. I said Murphy played rook e5. It's also a nice move, because we are improving a little the rook and attacking the pawn on d5. Here black plays rook d8. And now there is a move you wanted to play. This queen b3. Okay. Now the pawn is not hanging, because the rook is there. So now we are strengthening things like this. By the way, we need to be careful with the bishop, because the queen is in the same line than the bishop. That's something risky. But yeah, it seems to work. But in general, that's something we are going to avoid. The queen or our big pieces in the same line than our opponent's pieces. So queen b3, queen e7. What is the next move for white here? Okay, Martin already has one interesting idea. He wants to play rook a e1. Knight takes d5 might work, Ananda said. I'm not saying anything, so you can, you can think by yourself and you can decide what's really the best. I mean, the other ones who didn't say any move can think, and that's why I'm not saying what is right or wrong or regular. Yeah, knight takes d5, and Ananda is saying that white is getting one pawn. So another idea from Martin is this f4. I guess he wants to play f5 and take advantage of this pin. So it's creating some threat, this f4. That's another idea. Okay, so up to now we have f4, rook e1, or knight takes d5. Okay. Well, the move we have in the game is this rook a e1. This capture on d5 is not wrong, but it's a little complicated what is going to happen, because after knight takes d5, black can play this move, queen d6. And then there is a big pressure here on this knight. Remember, there is a pin. There's a name of the tactical theme. So there is a pin there. The knight cannot move because of the queen hanging. So this is going to be very annoying, and probably white is going to be in trouble there. Yeah, white is going to be in some trouble there. So knight takes d5 is not very strong because of queen d6. That's the problem. So the other idea 4 is also interesting. I like it. You are threatening things, so it seems to be fine. I guess there is a way to defend with, I don't know, queen d7 maybe, or maybe queen f6. So there are some ways to defend against that, or maybe g6. So black will have a way to defend, but it's an annoying move, creating some threat there, and black has to play something after that. So it's something we can analyze. But I think the best move is this rook e1. We are just improving the rook. This rook was doing nothing, and now we have the two rooks doubled here on the e file. So this is very logical. Remember, if you want to attack, you need to attack with as many pieces as possible. If you want your attack to be successful, you need to attack with all the team, or with as many players as you can. That's a principle for the attack. Attack with all your pieces, or attack with as many pieces as you can. This rook was doing nothing here, and now it's doing a lot here in the open file. So this is also very logical, this rook a e1. Okay, after rook a e1, black plays g5. I think the idea is to bring the king to g7, and probably it's also controlling this f4 in some point Martin thought about. So g5, how do we continue here? Okay, Martin is saying g3. Probably he wants to play f4. Is the idea, Martin, to play f4? Confirm with y, with the letter yes, okay. The problem with this plan, I know you still want to play f4 and f5, but the problem with this plan is that if you play g3 and f4, he can trade. And then look at your king. Your king will be as insecure as his king. This is going to be very open. He has a bishop, he has a queen, and he's going to bring the rook to g8. So that's not a very good idea. If you have to discover your own king to attack, that's probably something not very good. I mean, you can do that if you're sure your attack is going to be very, very strong. He cannot stop your attack. Well, if that happens, then you play g3, play f4, and then he won't be able to stop your attack. But that's not the case. You play g3 and f4, and as we said, he's going to have a way to defend against this f5, and then you will have trouble here with the open file and black pieces coming over here. So this idea is not good. This g3 to play f4 is not good. Remember, the best position for the pawns in the castling is like this. In some points, when there might be some a back rank mate, we can play some ah3, open the window so our king can escape over that window, or maybe some g3 in some point when we are facing back rank mate. But in general, the best position, the most secure position for our king is with the pawns here, h, g, and f2. So don't forget it because it's very, very important. If our king is not safe, probably we cannot attack with so much success. Okay, another set on h4. Yeah, this is also something we can take a look at. But again, if we open the file, this doesn't look very good. I know you want to play f4, but he will play, let's say, queen f6, and then, yeah, knight takes d5. I think it makes some sense here. I'm not clear. Knight takes d5. Then rook takes. Well, if rook takes, okay. I have a question for everyone now. Knight takes d5. If black plays rook takes d5, white plays, white wins. Let's see who can find this. Excellent. Very well, Ananda and Marin. Very good. After knight takes d5, if black plays rook takes d5, very well, Shishir. Very good. Then white is going to be able to capture here on d5 with the queen. The bishop takes the queen, the rook will take then on e7. That's it. So we are going to see that on the board just for everyone to understand that variation. The move white plays here is queen d2. Let me play it, and then we come back to the analysis. We were analyzing this. Knight takes pawn, black can take here. If black takes here with the rook, we said queen takes rook. Remember, there is a pin here. And talking about tactical themes, the tactical theme we have here is pin. That's why we can play this combination. Remember at the beginning of the lesson, we were talking about combination. It's a sacrifice we do to win material or to give mate. Well, here we have a sacrifice to win material, okay? So this is what we were talking at the beginning of the lesson, and we said that with the examples, we were going to understand everything better. So, okay, queen takes d5, this is a combination taking advantage of the pin here. After bishop takes, rook takes. This position is good for white. We have the exchange up. So let's go back. After knight takes d5, I think black can play bishop takes. That's the best. If rook takes, bishop takes, queen. This is not clear. This is probably a balanced game, more or less. So that's why knight takes d5 is not the best, because bishop takes knight, I think. Yeah. So instead of knight takes d5, white plays queen d1, and then black plays rook e8. I'm going to say the next move for white here, because it's a little strange, and actually the move is just, the move here is queen f6. Sorry, it's this, queen f6. Yeah, because when white moves the queen away, now we are again threatening knight takes d5 because of the pin. That's why Anderson moves the queen out of this file. Now d5 is very well protected. But then white plays rook 1. I'm going to say this one because it's a little strange. Actually, it's very strong, this move, but it's a little strange. It's not so easy to find this one. So that's why I'm going to say it. It's rook 1 to e3. The idea is to improve this rook. Now there are some new threats related to this idea. And in this moment, black plays rook g8. So in this position, there is a combination. White plays and white wins. Try to find the way to win here as white. Take your time, you don't have to rush. Okay, I'm going to say something here. Martin is analyzing this queen e1, also bringing the queen to the open file. But the way when you have the two rooks and the queen in the same file with the queen behind, does anyone know how do we call that? I'm going to text it. Okay. Well, listen, when we have two rooks and the queen behind, that's what we call Ali Hines gun. Ali Hines was world champion, number 4. So probably at some point he used this, and then people started to call this Ali Hines gun. So it's a good idea because then you have the two rooks and the queen behind. You have a big pressure. Then you have a big pressure there in the open file. So it's a good idea. It's something typical. Probably you're going to see it in some other game or in some other moment. But it's a good idea in general. This plan of the two rooks and the queen in open file. So Matt was saying, Queen E1 preparing or setting Ali Hines gun on the file. And he says that he has the idea of knight takes pawn, but it's not really working too much because even if you check in some point, the king can escape to G7. So you will be losing the knight and then the king is going to escape. If you want to mate, of course, it is better to have the queen in front, Ananda. But in a position like this, for example, if you want to play rook E8 or something E8, you don't want to bring the queen because then you lose the queen and then the king escapes. So if you just want to create some threats, it is better to go with the rook. So it depends on the position. Sometimes it is going to be better to have the queen in front to give mate. So it depends on the position. But also sometimes it is better to have the queen here so the queen is safe. You don't have to give the queen at any point, and all you need to do is to trade rooks. That's better because with the queen you cannot, very often you cannot play queen e8. I hope that's clear. Excellent. Okay, so no one has found the combination we have here. I'm going to have to give you some clue. Yeah, remember we have a combination, okay? Remember what combination is. It's a sacrifice to win the game, or to win material, or to give mate, one of them. So it's a sacrifice, okay? So A4 is probably a nice idea. Queen E1 is probably a nice idea, but remember I said this is a combination. There is a sacrifice here to win the game. Excellent, Martin. You're the first to find the combination here. Yeah, Ananda was also analyzing the move, so very well. Well, actually, Ananda said it first, but I was looking for the line. I think it's important to see the line. So the first who wrote the whole idea was rook takes and rook f3. It was Martin. So I'm going to say it. The move he plays is rook takes e6. After this, black has to take, otherwise they lose a piece. So black has to take with the pawn. And then white can play rook f3, pinning here and getting the queen. I have a question. Follow the line. Rook takes bishop. Pawn takes rook. Rook f3. Queen takes rook. Queen takes queen. My question is, how is the material? I'm going to repeat just in case someone didn't get it. Martin is already answering. So rook takes bishop, pawn takes rook. Rook f3, queen takes rook again, and queen takes queen. How's the material? I guess you meant 2 rooks, Martin. Okay. Okay, well, I think Chen Shan said the answer well, and then he changed and he said it wrong. I think. Well, we're going to check together now. Let's see. So, +3 for white. I don't think it's +3. I don't think it's so much. So we have rook takes bishop, pawn takes rook, then rook f3. I said queen takes rook and queen takes queen. Let's see. White has a queen and a knight and 6 pawns. Black has 2 rooks and 1, 2, 3, 7 pawns. So we have a queen and a knight versus 2 rooks and a pawn. So I'm going to repeat it. We have a queen and a knight versus 2 rooks and 1 pawn. That's plus plus how much is that? How are you in math? Are you fine in math? I think I'm going to have to teach some math here. Okay, well, let's analyze because I think we are not. I think we don't have the same answer here. A queen and a knight are 12 points. Is that right? Yeah, of course it's right. I'm not going to to wait for the reply. And 2 rooks and a pawn are 11 points. So 12 minus 11, we have 1. So white has only 1. Shen Shen said that from the beginning, and then he changed the answer and he said 2, and now he's coming back to 1. Again, he was the first to say it. So actually, white only has 1 point up. Yes. Yeah, from this entire thing, all these sacrifices, we only got 1 point. That's it. But yeah, actually, when we analyze the position, it's more than that. It's more than that because then these are double pawns here. So actually, in some point, okay, I'm going to say something very important. We are not going to work with the captured pieces. In chess, professional players need to learn to work with the pieces inside the board. This is very important because when you're playing tournaments over the board, okay, how many of you have already played over the board tournaments? Please confirm with why those who have played over the board tournament or over the board games in some small tournament, and those who haven't, just an N letter. So this is for yes and this for no, okay? Okay, so probably some of you have already played and some haven't tournaments over the world. So when you're playing tournaments over the board, it's very helpful that you know to count the pieces inside the board. Chen Chen has already played some tournaments. Okay. So it is very important to learn to count the material with the pieces inside the board. So you just have to say, I have a queen, he has a queen. Well, let's see the line. And Adriel has played a lot as well. Let's see the line so we can analyze the material here again. So we are going to say, I have a queen and a knight. He doesn't have queen and knight, he has two rooks. So up to this moment, we have queen, knight, two rooks, but we have a pawn down. So he has two rooks and a pawn against queen and knight. So it's just a matter of analyzing what we have and what we don't have, and then see the differences. But it is very important, I'm going to repeat, that you learn to use the pieces inside the board, because if you're playing over the board in a tournament and your opponent has the pieces he captures in a hand and he doesn't want to show you those pieces, he doesn't have to show you the pieces, so he can hide them if he wants, as you can hide the pieces if you want as well. Or probably there is a piece on the floor, maybe, that can happen. So it is very important for you that you get used to analyze the material inside the board. So analyze the piece, have a queen, he has two rooks, a knight, and he has a pawn. Analyze it in that way. We're going to do exercises like that more or less often, but that's something we need to keep in mind. Always analyze with the material. I know when we are playing chess in chess.com, for example, chess.com automatically tells us you have +1. But that's not very helpful for when you are going when you're playing a tournament over the world. Okay. Just one more question before I finish this game. Okay. What is the name of the tactical thing we can see here? Yeah, because I didn't say that after this, then Anderson resigned here. Between us, we don't have to resign, but they are great masters, and he thought that the difference was big, and he could not be able to get anything in this game against Murphy. So that's why he resigned. Excellent, Chen Chen. So the tactical thing we have here, Chen Chen just said it. Okay. So the tactical thing here is a pin. So we are going to, we're also deflecting this pawn away from this fight. So at some point we can say deflection here and then pin here. Okay. So we finished the game now. We are going to continue with other things before we finish. Any question about the game, about the combinations we saw, about the material, before we continue with our activities? No questions. Okay. So I was planning to play some game. So everyone plays 10 minutes game. That's something I was planning, but I will need your chess.com users so we can do that. So yeah, let's do that. Everyone text the user here, so I will follow the games they are playing. The idea is that everyone's going to play a 10 minutes game against some random opponent, probably someone we don't know. Okay, and then I will be watching the games, and I'm probably will be saying some tips. That's the idea. So everyone plays a game, and we're going to be here. We'll be here analyzing the games. I'm saying some ideas for you. I cannot tell you moves, okay? That's a rule. If you're playing a game, I will never tell you. No, you don't have to share a screen, Ananda, because I will be watching from chess.com here. I can do that. Actually, you can watch the game I watch. So the game I'm watching here, you will know it when I'm watching your own game. But don't start, don't yet. So that's the idea. Okay, so we have some users here. And I'm going to see how you play. Remember, we are going to play only. No, if you play short, it's not a problem. Okay, if you play short, it's not a problem. You also play and you train. It's a training game. It's fine. If you, I will be guiding just, you know, watching the games, and probably will be saying some tip like remember something or be careful with something like that. But remember, I cannot say moves. That's not fine. That I tell you moves as you're playing, so you can beat your opponent. That's not good. I won't say moves. So we are going to analyze the games from in that way. Remember. Yeah, I will show you how to play because some of you don't know. So I will show you how to do a chess game in chess.com. You go to play, and then you go to live chess. This is a little slow here, but you will see that it is going to go to another window, and then you can find an opponent in that window. So when you go to live chess, you are going to choose here 10 minutes. That's the time I want you to play. So you pick 10 minutes and then just play. Yeah, that's the idea. So you pick 10 minutes and then you play. I will be watching your games here. I hope so. I hope I can see your games from here. So you can play from now whenever you want, and I will try to follow those users you wrote there in the chat. Let's see how this goes. If you have a problem to find an opponent, you don't know how to do it, please let me know and I will repeat it. Yeah, I see Saiti Yalamantli is already playing. And also, Shishir is already playing. That's very good. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, and some player, someone played h5 here. That's probably not very good. So just continue developing. Of course, probably he wants to attack or something, but right now this is very dangerous. So, okay, continue watching. Let me see the other game here. Yeah, be careful because be careful because your opponent is threatening the something. Let me try to find the other students. Okay. And Marin is also playing, be careful. He's threatening something here. Ariel, you couldn't find an opponent? Oh, yeah, I see. You couldn't. Adel doesn't have opponent. He doesn't have opponent. So, yeah, that's a strange because there should be some opponent. But if you cannot find an opponent, you can also watch the analysis we are doing from the main screen here. I'm analyzing all the games and saying tips. If you cannot find an opponent, you can follow me here. Okay, so we try to keep following games. I have like 5 boards, so it's not going to be easy for me, but I will try to follow these 5 boards. Okay, let me see. Potato Chip is doing very well. He has 1 pawn up. Remember, do not rush. You have let me see, Ananda, what is the user? Let me check, because I still don't remember the. I don't remember the user for Ananda. Okay, if you want, if you can text it, but I know you're playing, so. Ananda, yeah, okay. I guessed that. Okay, I will follow. I will see your game in some seconds, because something happened here to Potato Chip. Well, I think Potato Chip is no one in, right? Let me see what's going on with Ananda here. Well, he's threatening something. You need to be careful with his threat. That's the first thing. Also, you need to develop the queen side, your bishop on c8 later. But the first thing is to defend against his threat, I guess. I'm going to take a look at Marin to see how it is going. Yeah, well, Marin is playing there. This is a little complicated. He has 2 pawns down, but the position is very complicated right now. You can think a little, you don't have to rush. Remember, if you think a little more, you can probably play a little better. And teacher's in trouble here. Yeah, you're tricking to see what he plays, but he can take the pawn with check. That's probably the best. Hopefully he won't see that, but he can do that. If you lose material, you lose the queen or whatever, don't worry, just continue playing and try to avoid changes. That's the idea. Okay, focus. Well, and Saiti is playing very well. She has the queen up, but keep focused because your opponent is threatening things, but she's doing very well. Or he. Well, sorry, I'm not clear about Saiti. Okay, not clear about the name. But very well. I think she's the only one who's winning. Let me continue checking here. Okay, Mananda, you're doing well. Now you're threatening things, but yeah, don't forget the time, okay? So you have 4 minutes and a half. You don't have to rush a lot. You can think a little, but you cannot think too much. That's the idea. So do not rush too much. Do not rush here because you have a strong move right now, getting material advantage. I'm talking to Ananda. I'm just going to say, well, I didn't have to say it because you found out that that pawn is pinned. So that pawn is actually threatening nothing. So you found that you could take on d5 very well. And you have a good pressure now on g5. So I'm glad to see that you are improving in your game because some time ago it was not clear for you. Okay, focus because the position is very complicated now. He just sacrificed a knight. So keep concentration now. Ananda, you missed bishop takes f2. Never mind, just focus and continue your game. You're playing very well, so focus and keep playing. Yeah, Shishu, you lost. It's fine. Don't worry. Okay, just keep watching here and see how your group mates are playing. You have mate in 2 moves, Saiti. Let me see, Shenshen. Let me take a look. Can you text your user? I remember if I did. Yes, very good, Shishir. It seems like you won clearly this game from the beginning. So that's very well. And here we have Martin. Oh no, it seems like I didn't, but probably I can get it. Probably I can get it. Yeah, yeah. There were many games at the same time, and I couldn't follow all of them. Shen, but probably I will take a look. If I can very quickly. Martin is doing it fairly well. He has material advantage, but do not rush. You need to keep concentration. Remember, your king is a little discovered here, and there might be some threats. Your opponent can play queen b2 now, check. Yeah, that's a little dangerous. So do not rush. The position is not won, not yet. This is very complicated. So you need to focus, okay? Well, no one, don't play more games, okay? Only one, only one. If you started, it's fine, you can continue. But don't play more games, okay? Those who started playing can continue, but don't play more games. Okay, so we have 2 games on the board here. Well, this one is from Saidi, who started to play another one. Let's see how is Martin doing, because Martin is playing a great game here. Yeah, I forgot that that game. Something happened here too. What happened here, Ananda? Why did you resign here? So what happened? Why did you? I mean, did you? Oh, you won. You won. Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I said you. Congratulations. Very well. Very well. Yeah, you got a minor piece up. You have a big pressure here on F2. So that's why he resigned here. Excellent. I'm going to continue with other games because they are playing. I need to help them. But I'm very happy for you. I see you got a good victory here. Well, Martin is almost winning the game. He has a minor piece up, but he's going to get something else now. Black king is very discovered, and he's giving checks. So the other I can see for black here is king c7. Yes, he's doing a good job in this game. Well, he didn't play king c7. He played rook e7. Well, you just blunder here. Yeah, you need to pay attention, okay? Do not rush. You have 4 minutes. So yeah, don't worry. That happens. That happens very often. It happens to anyone. We can blunder. But if you focus, you can avoid that. You can avoid that sometimes, is what I meant. Here you have a discovered threat. So let's hope he doesn't see it. I think he has to play king c8. Oh, he saw it. Are you threatening a skewer? But there is a problem. Yes, that's the problem. The check, the unprotected bishop. Never mind. Just keep playing. You're doing it very well. He has a 40 seconds only. So I'm going to give you a tip. If you can join to blunder the rook, never mind. He did not see it. If you can join the rook to the king or to some protected square, it is going to help you. Otherwise, the queen might get your rook with a check and capture. That's something we need to keep in mind in this kind of positions. When we don't have the queen can give many checks, the other queen. So we need to put our rook in some protected square so we don't lose it. Saiti, be careful, he's threatening two things at the same time. I just keep playing. You're doing it great. He has only 6 seconds, so probably you can flag him. Yeah, excellent. Very good, excellent. I mean, you couldn't win on the war, but winning on time is also important. So very well for Martin. It's also a great victory. And also he was winning in almost all the game, but he blundered a little at the end. Yes, yes, very good job. This is also very important for me. I mean, in some point you can be lost, but you are fighting in your game and he doesn't have so much time and you can keep playing and doing things and then you can win on time. That's also fine, okay? That's also a victory. Of course, I prefer that you win by mate or because your opponent resigned because you are winning the game. But if you cannot win in that way and you can win on time, that's also fine. It's also a victory. Something interesting here is that Martin didn't capture the queen here in this position. And that's fine because if he takes the queen, then the king takes the rook and then Martin doesn't have material. So when, yeah, that's it. So it will be a draw when he takes. So he tried to keep the queen, the rook on the board. So if his opponent runs out of time, he will be winning. He did it in that way. That was the idea. So because probably someone can be wondering why didn't he take the queen? He didn't take it to keep the rook on the board, and he could win with that rook. Okay, so very well, very good victory. And then we have here Saiti is still in. We finished with the analysis here with this game. She's playing. She has a rook down. But something important here. If you have material disadvantage, I know some of you already know that, but I'm going to repeat it. If you have material disadvantage, don't trade queens. I mean, don't trade pieces. And of course, don't trade queens. That's very important because that's the only way you can make the game more complicated for your opponent. Keep queens and keep pieces on the board. So here we are waiting for this game. Saiti, you have only 2 minutes and something. So you can think some seconds, but don't think too much. If you can. Sometimes there is no move. Even if we know we don't have too much time, we don't find the move. That can happen, okay? But you need to keep in mind that you don't have too much time. Okay, Chen Shen also got a victory, so I'm going to try to see that game because I couldn't follow that game as he was playing, and he told me he won. Yeah, I will say the homework right now before we continue with the lesson. Something good is that your opponent cannot castle right now, so that's something. You're probably lost, but you're complicating the game, so that's fine. Let me see the game Shen Shen won. So very quickly, I'm going to take a look as IT is playing. So your opponent played Scandinavian Defense, you traded, and you play knight c3. That's the right way to play, or probably the best way to play against Scandinavian. Then you traded queens, that's fine. Instead of playing bishop d3, I think it's better to play d3. When you play bishop d3, you are going to create some trouble with your pawn structure here, double pawns. It's much better to play d3 and then you're developing. Please everyone pay attention here. In some point I can ask questions about this analysis. So bishop here is not very strong. Then you trade and then d3, okay, very good, okay. Yeah, when you play here, you're attacking the rook. So he needs to play f6. He did not play that. He gave you the exchange. When someone trades a rook by a minor piece, like here, a rook by a bishop, that's the exchange. So now we have the exchange up. You trade it, of course. That's what we need to do when we have material advantage. You got one pawn. And then you're mating, and he did not see that, and you saw that. Okay, so very good victory, Shen Shen. Very good victory. Good game. The only mistake was here. I did not like this move. Let me tell you. Yeah, this is the only mistake. Bishop d3. It's not a big mistake, but if you play this and he trades, let me see if I can play here. No, I cannot play. Well, if you play that and he trades, then you will have problems with your pawn structure. Double pawns there in an open file, that's not fine. Yes, okay. So let's see how is IT doing. 1 minute. Yeah, we can analyze all the games, but that's going to take some time. Well, as IT is playing, I will try to find Ananda's game to see what happened here. This is something we need to avoid, the bishop on d6, because then we cannot move the pawn and then we cannot develop the bishop. So usually we are not going to develop the bishop. I think probably it's going to be better d6, protecting and developing here. So we continue here. As you can see, you still have problems here because you don't have a way to develop the queen side because of this move, bishop d6. And here you can just capture with this pawn. That's not wrong. You get one pawn there. There's nothing wrong with that. But you take, and the problem is that now this pawn can create some damage over here. This is a fork, so that's not good. Yeah, actually he can take, because when he takes, he's going to ask for something, probably a queen, and then that queen is going to be pinning the rook, so we cannot take his queen. So actually he can take the knight here. Yeah, I saw this position. Yeah, instead of playing knight g4, it's not a bad move, Ananda, but you can play bishop takes pawn first. The idea is that you can attract the king so you can check and get the queen. The tactical theme here Yeah, Saiti just lost on time. It's fine, Saiti. Okay, so let's continue with the game and then we continue with our activities. I need to say the homework very quickly. So, you know, bishop takes pawn is a good idea to attract the king, and then you can check getting his queen if he takes. Okay, you play knight g4, that's also a good idea, that's also fine. But here you can take, and I think you didn't take. I was watching this moment here. You didn't take, but you can take. I think you pre-moved in this moment. And here you play knight a5, but you can take here. It is check and capture. You missed this opportunity. Okay, then now you got one piece, and then you bring the knight to d3. You have a big pressure on f2, so you're going to win. You should be able to win this game. So yeah, it was a good game. At the beginning, some mistakes. I think the worst mistake was here when he plays g6 and you did not take. You can just take here. But out of that, the game was pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to say the homework before we continue with other things because we have like 20 more minutes. So pay attention here. You know, I'm checking the homeworks in all the lessons, okay? At least I'm checking that you do it. If you don't do it, well, nothing is going to happen, but at the end I have to give a punctuation at the end of the course. So probably if you can do it, it's going to be the best. I'm going to check that in all the lessons. So the homework is this. You are going to solve 2 puzzles per day all this week. So it could be, let's say, yeah, I know it can be easy for some of you, but I don't want to do to keep a homework too difficult because, you know, some of you don't have the same time than others. So you're going to solve 2 puzzles per day. So we are analyzing 6 days. Probably I'm not counting here Sunday, or probably I'm not counting today. So some of those days, yeah, I know the week has 7 days, but I'm saying 6 because I will explain what are the puzzles right now. So I'm saying 6 because probably someone doesn't want to solve on Sunday or probably doesn't want to solve today. Yeah, but I'm going to tell you how are the puzzles. It will be here in chess.com. You are going to come to puzzles, of course. And then you are going to pick puzzles like this. You go to learning. And then in learning, you are going to pick puzzles in the range we want. For example, for this homework, the puzzle will be more or less easy, between 800 and 1000, okay? So you come here, learning, you set the range between 800 and 1000, sorry, and then you work. You do that every day, but also I will give you the opportunity to solve it in 1 day or in 2 days, or as you prefer. All I need is that when I check that you have learning, you have in learnings, you have 12 puzzles. If you have more, that's even better. So I'm going to text it puzzles, learning. Yeah, any type. It doesn't matter if it is a back rank or clearance or decoy. I don't care too much about that. I just want you to solve 12 puzzles in learning range 800, 1000. That's the idea. can do 12 in one day if you want. It's fine. But they have to be 12 in learning in between 810. Yes, that's very well. It's fine. If you have more than 12, like 20 or 30 in the week in learning, that's fine. That's even better. But what I want for the homework are 12. So you have to take a screen here. Yes, you can do puzzle rush, all the puzzle rush you want, but the homework is 12 here. I was saying that you can take a print screen here with learning with this range if you want, so you don't forget it. And oh, I forgot to write the 2 per day, but you can solve them all in one day. So 12 puzzles. Okay, any question about the homework? In the next, you select here in the rating, you see here, between 800 and 1000. Yes, you will see many puzzles, many kind of tactical themes, okay? You don't have to select any of them. You can just select, let me see for 1 second. You don't have to select here. Well, I selected here. Yeah, what you need to have selected is all themes. All themes, yes. All themes. It means that you can find a decoy, or you can find there, let's say, clearance or discover or double check. That can be anything. We don't know what we are going to see, or very well, Ananda, you can find an Alejandro's gun there. Anything. Plasma ray. Yeah, plasma ray is strange. Okay. So we have like 15 or something like that more minutes. If no one has questions about the homework, we're going to continue solving puzzles, and we finish the lesson with that, solving and analyzing puzzles. Yeah, okay. So if someone has a question, I'm going to repeat this because probably in the next lesson, someone may come and say, I didn't understand how to find the puzzle. So if someone has a question, this is the moment. You can text it and I will repeat it. I said that if you want, you can take a print screen here, and then you can see the range, how it is, the all themes selected, and learning also selected. Okay, well, it seems like there are no questions, so we're going to solve puzzles here. And we are going to solve more difficult puzzles because we are working together. So I'm going to say from 12 to 14, maybe. Let's see what happens. Let's see, for example, for a theme here, let's see clearance. Let's see what clearance is. You don't have to chat the answers. Oh, yeah, here you have to chat the answers. But in the homework, all you need to do is to solve the puzzle, and I will check that. I will check that on next Monday. I will check it. I can check it from chess.com. So yeah, here you're going to chat the answers. That's what you're going to do here. Let's see. I selected here clearance. So you're going to see what a clearance is. Okay. Black plays queen d7, white to move here. Okay, I'm going to help you a little because it's not so easy, this one. It's a little complicated. The first move is going to be G5, I think. It's going to be G5. And after G5, Black has two possible moves. Black can play either King E6 or King E7. If Black plays King E6, yeah, Queen D5, he just takes. Yeah, if Black plays King E6, very well, Martin, we just play Rook E8. The King will have to come here, and then we pin, and we get the Queen. So after G5, the King cannot come here because of this check. So the King will have to go to E7. So G5, King E7. In that position, it is white to move, and there is mate in 3. I'm going to play the first move because I think it's complicated. So G5, King E7. Now, white to move, mate in 3. Let's see who can find the whole mate. I want the whole variation. Okay, don't say one move. Okay, Rook E8 doesn't work, right? He just takes. Okay, excellent. Shen Shen, I'm writing this because you found it. Well. Yeah. I'm just making a pause here so you can analyze what Shen Shen is suggesting. That's the right line, what Shen Shen said. So try to analyze it by yourself so you can understand that. That's it, Mari. That's it. So I'm going to say it so everybody can get the line. The first move here is Queen F8. In this position, the only option for Black is King A6. Then we have a combination. Remember, we were talking about combination at the beginning. It's a sacrifice to win. Okay, we have a combination because we're going to sacrifice to mate later. So we sacrifice here, and when he takes, then we clear this line for the queen. We clear the line because the pawn is gone to G6. So that's the variation. I'm going to play it, and then Rook takes G6. We are deflecting this pawn to clear this line. So actually here we have deflection and clearance. The tactical themes we have here are deflection and clearance. Actually, this is a deflection. We are going to deflect this pawn. So this is a deflection to clear the line. That's the idea here. So we can say the tactical themes here, deflection and clearance, both of them. Okay. Let's see another one. Okay, this is easy. And when I see some easy puzzle, probably I will change, close the tab. I will close the tab in 10 seconds or something like that. So you will have to think very quickly. Yeah, I will do something like this. Mate in 2 moves. Try to find it, something like that. Okay, so you get ready because yes, very well. That's it. Yeah, this is what we call the Arabian mate, right? A mate with rook and knight here in kind of positions. That's the Arabian. The Arabian mate. I'm going to text it. Arabian mate is this position here. Okay. Did everybody understand the idea here? It's just mating two, but just to make sure. Okay, let's see one more. Remember, if it's very easy, I will say 10 seconds and then I close the tab. I mean, I show some other tab. Okay, excellent. Thanks, Saidi. Very well. So we continue. Black to move, mate into 10 seconds. Okay, could you find something or? Excellent. Yeah. Yeah, well, Chen said it very well. The one that, let's see. Well, let me ask you something first. When I change the tab, you don't see the combination, right? You don't see the puzzle. Okay, okay. Just to make sure. So yeah, very well. Yeah, thanks for the confirmation. Okay, very good. So Shen found the right idea. We play first Queen A2. Everybody follow the line. Queen A2, the rook takes. And then mate with the rook here. Again, this is Arabian mate. Yes, very well, Ananda. That's Arabian again. And we are doing here a deflection to clear. That's the same idea. So we have deflection and clearance here. Those are the tactical themes. Deflection and clearance. So I'm going to play it. Okay, let's see one more. Okay, black to move. You don't have to rush. You have time here. I'm not going to use the 10 seconds rule. Well, we are in the next. I'm not sure about that rook takes b2, Ananda, but probably it's not as good as queen a2. Probably it works, but not as good as queen a2. Yeah. Well, Martin saw it, and Chen saw it probably slightly better. I'm going to say it. Everyone pay attention here. The first move is going to be rook h1. The king has to take. That's the only option. And then black can play queen h7. This is check. But this is not checkmate, Martin. Not checkmate. They can go to u1. And then when we play queen h2, that's checkmate. Okay, any question about this? Rook h1, this is an attraction. We are attracting. The tactical theme we are using when we play rook h1 is attraction. That's very important. This is a combination. we're sacrificing the rook to win later. Okay, rook, queen, and queen. Okay, excellent. The force attraction, otherwise the king dies. Okay, very well. So we are almost finishing here. Do you have some question about the lesson, about the homework, anything you want to say before we finish the lesson? I'm glad you like the lesson, Chen Chen. Very glad. Excellent. Yes. Thanks, Martin. Yes, that's the idea for all the lessons. More or less something like this. Always analyzing the game, always some puzzles, always you play some game and I look. That's the idea, and that's what I want for all the lessons, more or less. Perfect, thank you. I'm going to tell you something. Martin, Ananda, and Chen Chen they did it very well today. So they will get you know, like a very good, like an asterisk or something. And tracking when some of you do it very, very well in the lesson. So they did it great, and they will have a very good notes. Don't worry, no one is going to be failing or anything. The course is fine. But when some of you do it really well, I will text it somewhere. So that's the idea. Remember, for next Monday, we have homework that we didn't have today. So I'm going to check that on next. Thank you so much. You are great kids. I really enjoyed the lesson with you as well. Okay, so we finish here. See you next week.